Last night when Carol and I were running around doing things, we had FLN on, and FLN is playing all Christmas music right now. And we're riding along, and all of a sudden they play one song. I don't remember what song it was or who did it, but she goes, "I don't like that verse." And I smiled, and I said, "Well, Carol," I said, "think about it." I said, "They've been writing Christmas songs for 2,000 years. And we get used to certain ones, but every year there's a few new ones." And the comment, somebody, I think it was Connie, made the comment about next year there'll be a new one or something. Somebody made it back there. And so it's the truth. And it seems like there's always some, but that one song, "Oh, What a Glorious Night" by the Sidewalk Prophets, to me, is just my greatest new song. I just love that song because it's so joyous about the fact that, you know, the Christ is born in that song. And they are just celebrating away. And it's steppy. I mean, and I see everybody's head. When it starts, the music starts, I see the heads going. I'm back to rocking in the chair. and I'm grinning from ear to ear. And so I do cheat and look around to see if you guys are enjoying the songs. And so I could tell that you definitely liked it. So I want to talk about this morning the meaning of Christmas, the true meaning of Christmas. And did you know what the name Jesus means? Do you know what it means if you look it up in Webster's dictionary or if you read up on it? It means the Lord is salvation. Okay? The Lord is salvation. And I'm going to talk about the Word. I'm going to talk about the book of John for a minute. And the Word. And it talks about how the Word came to this earth. And the Word was in the beginning. And word, according to Webster, can mean wisdom. So keep that in mind. And what I want to talk about is the four Gospels were all written, and they're all similar, but they're all different. If you read them closely, you know that. And each one was written for a different reason and to a different audience. And I'm going to talk about the book of John, the fourth Gospel, because that really opens our eyes to who Jesus really was. And it was written to stress that Jesus and God are the same. They are one and the same. And in John, the first chapter, it says, "The Word became flesh and walked among us." And then it explains who the Word is, and it's Jesus. In the 14th verse, it talks about the fact that Jesus is the Word. And the Word was in the beginning. And so he's telling us right there that Jesus is God. And that when he came here, God came to this earth. And then in John chapter 8, Jesus said he was God because in one of his talks to the people, he said, "I am." And in Jewish culture, "I am" was God. When God sent Moses to the Israelites in Egypt, he said, "Who should I say sent me?" And he said, "I am." So the Israelites knew right from back then who I am was. It was God. And Jesus almost was attacked over saying "I am," because they said, "You're a mere mortal. You're a man. You can't be God." And then in John, the 10th chapter, he said he was God again because he said, "I and the Father," referring to God, "are one." So both John tells us that Jesus is God, and Jesus tells us that he's God, even though he's the Son of God. And I heard a story a long time ago now. It was about a farmer that's standing looking out at his kitchen window at night, and there in front, and it's dark, it's a cold wintry night, the wind's blowing, it's horrible weather. And he looks out there and he sees this flock of sparrows sitting on the ground in front of the barn. And I'm sure many of you have probably heard this story. And so he looked out and he had compassion for these sparrows, and he said, "I'll go out and I'll let them into the barn so they're out of the wind and the cold and the snow." And so he went out and he opened the barn doors and he kept trying to chase the sparrows into the barn. And they kept flying away, going in every direction. They wouldn't go in the barn like he wanted. And he walked back in the house and he thought to himself, if only I could be a sparrow and I could tell them that there's a warm barn there and that they'd be safe and secure for the night. And that's what God did. He came to this earth as this little baby, little tiny baby. And he came so that we could get to know him and get to know how to live and how he wanted us to live. And he was, think about it. Think about how amazing this is. Here there's a woman that's cradling this little baby, the mother of God. And then there's the Father standing there. The Father of God in reality, the earthly Father of God, Joseph. And then the shepherds saw him, came to see him. Eventually, down the road, the kings, the 3 kings, or however many kings, we don't really know probably, but the kings came to see him. And can you imagine what that's like? And then he grew up, and all of his neighbors knew him. And they all got to know God in reality on a personal basis. Can you imagine that? And then he gave his life for us. He hung on the cross for us. And why God did it the way he did it, I will always tell you, I have no idea why he did it, but this was his plan all along, because all through the Old Testament, there's hints. There's things telling what's going to happen. And the Jews never put it together and picked up on that. They were expecting an earthly king that was going to come and drive the Romans out and take over. But he didn't come to chase out the Romans. He came to chase out Satan. He came to chase out the devil, to get rid of our sins for us. Because we aren't good enough to do it, no matter what. And so that, folks, is the true meaning of Christmas. And just think what must have gone on in heaven that night when the baby was born. When God stepped down into this little tiny body. And the angels must have all knelt in prayer. And then they took off to spread into the heavens so that they could announce that God was born on earth and that he was come to save us. Can you imagine what that must have been like? It had to have been unbelievable. There's probably no words to describe what that must have been like. So, I want you, this week, I want you to celebrate Christmas all week long. Now, in our family, since my wife is Russian, we celebrate Christmas technically. I don't go crazy, but we celebrate it for a couple weeks yet. Because their Christmas comes a little later, so the tree stays up and the decorations stay up and everything. But I want you, over the next couple of weeks, to be celebrating Christmas and thinking about the true meaning of Christmas, how that little baby came to save you. And that's why I love that song, Mary, Did You Know? Because it describes that a lot. And it's a fantastic song, and you will hear it soon. But keep that, this upcoming week especially, don't just think about the hustle and the bustle all around you. I want you to take some time at night and sit in a dark, not a dark room, but a dimly lit room. Whether it's, I used to love as a kid to sit around by the Christmas tree on the couch or flop on the couch and just turn on the Christmas carols and listen to it in that environment. Because it's so much more peaceful. But please, please make the time to do that. And think about the true meaning of Christmas, how amazing it really is. It's just unbelievable. So, we're going to take communion now. And this is to remind us of what Jesus went through, this communion. We are sitting down at the table with him at the Last Supper, and he's getting ready to be hung on the cross for our sins. And just as you're taking the communion today, listening to the music, think about all of this. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Lord, you are just so, so, so amazing. and so loving and so forgiving and so holy. And we don't deserve the love that you give us, but yet you give it to us. And you offer it to us so free. We are so fortunate. And we thank you for that. We thank you for your love. We thank you for your forgiveness. And we are just so joyful to be here today, to be in your presence, to be able to soak you up, and to hear the sermon that Rod's going to give, and to gather together as a group of fellow Christians. And we are just so thankful to be around you. And Lord, thank you for sending your Son. Thank you for all the blessings that you pour out on us every single day. And Lord, touch this church, touch this community, touch the school that's here, touch our nation, and help us to be drawn closer and closer to you day by day, and help us to follow you with all of our hearts and souls and strength. Lord, thank you, thank you, thank you for all you've given us and done for us. We ask everything in Jesus' name.